accent. You don't have to put on the red light.
He's been making hits since the 70s with the Police and later as a solo artist. Now, as he reaches his 70th birthday, musician, singer, songwriter, bassist, actor and activist Sting is unveiling his 15th album, The Bridge.
If it's love, it has no season. If it's love, there is no cure. If it's love, it won't see reason. And of this you can be sure. If it's love, you must surrender. If it's love that's turned you around.
Hello Sting, thanks for talking to us. Let's first talk about what France means to you.
I've been coming here since the 70s, and it's not far away. It's only 20 miles across the sea, but there's something about France which is the culture is so different to English culture. So for me, it's exotic. And I like French food, I like French history, French music, movies.
The Bridge is your 10th studio album. It was written during the pandemic. How did COVID-19 influence it?
I would say not much, because it just moved me out of my cycle. I was in the middle of a tour, and the pandemic cut my tour in half. So when I was forced to go home, I said, okay, I will just move the cycle of my work. So I will now work in the studio. And that's what kept me sane. I didn't just sit at home eating cookies and watching Netflix. I worked every day.
So the song The Bridge made me think about several things, the refugee crisis, climate change. What does it mean for you?
Well, I think the bridge is an interesting metaphor for what all of us are going through, including me. I think we are all in a state of transition. All of the characters I write about in the songs are in this between things. They're between life and death. They're between worlds. They're between love and not in love. They're between health and sickness. And I only realized this after I'd finished writing it. And so the theme of the bridge, looking for some route to the future where we can feel safe or more happy, is something we are all searching for. It's not a real bridge, it's a bridge in the mind. So I'm looking for it, all my characters are looking for it, and I think everyone else is. So here we are.
This is the sound of rushing water flooding through my brain. This is the sound of God's own daughter calling out your name. This is the sound of atmospheres.
And there are a lot of references to water in this album. You grew up next to a shipyard near Newcastle. How did that influence the album?
Water is a very important symbol for me. As you say, I was born right next to the river Tyne, and it was a big symbolic influence on me. But the symbolism of water is interesting because for me it symbolizes the unconscious. It also symbolizes the feminine. And for me, these are two areas I'm very intrigued by. This is my muse. This is what makes me write.
We live in a world of crisis, a world in crisis with the pandemic, climate change. Do you feel we've reached the end of an era?
I'm not a historian, and I'm not looking from above. I think we're right in the middle of it. But we are in crisis. That I know. I don't know whether it's the end or the beginning. And yet we have to compose a strategy to get to the future. We need to be optimistic, but also we need to be realistic. So there's a balance between the two things. I don't have the answer, but for me, the bridge is music. That's my way of connecting. We all need to connect with each other.
The trial of the November 2015 attacks is taking place right now. You were the first artist to perform at the Bataclan again. What convinced you to do that?
First of all, it was a great honor to be asked. I had some history with the Bataclan. I played there. And it was a difficult job because I had to celebrate the opening of this famous theater. and also to honor the dead. And so achieving that balance was not easy. I hope I did it. I'm glad I did the concert. It was a very emotional evening. But I was honored.
Britain is no longer part of the EU. How has it affected you?
Brexit?
Yeah.
Brexit is a disaster. And I voted against it, as did half of the people of Britain. I'm angry with the government because they've sold us something that doesn't work. There's not one good reason why we did this. It's called self-harm.
Some things don't change. You still talk a lot about love on this album. You've just turned 70. You've been married for a long time. Do you still see love as a passionate feeling?
I think love is a very interesting subject. It's really what songwriters write about. But I've experienced the whole spectrum of emotions related to love, from the highest joy to the lowest misery and everything in between. So these are areas that I can write about with some understanding and some authenticity. But I don't want to write a song that says I love you and you love me, because it's a closed loop. It's banal. Whereas I love you, but you love someone else. Now that's painful but interesting.
You also mentioned love as a disease in the album.
Well, I'm being ironic. If it's love, I talk about some symptoms of disease, and I'm writing about it during a pandemic. I'm trying to be lighthearted. The song is funny and ironic, and it begins with me whistling, which I think makes people smile. I think we still need to smile even though we're in crisis.
And my doctor's diagnosis, his opinion, and I quote, I write you a prescription, and this is what my doctor wrote. If it's love, it has no season.
You've been in the music industry for quite some time now. You've played all around the world. You've won countless awards. What keeps you going?
What keeps me going? Curiosity. Curiosity about music. Curiosity about life generally. I ask the question, why are we here? What is this? What is this reality? So I'll never find the answer, but I'm intrigued.
Last spring, you released an album of duets with Mélodie Gardot, Eric Clapton, Shaggy, but also with French singers Charles Aznavour, Mylène Farmer, and Gims. How did that happen?
Over the years, I've sang with many, many other singers of all different genres and ages, and we thought it would be interesting to put them all together and see what happens, because it's very eclectic. But the bridge is me. And so I think people found that intriguing, that I would sing with Charles Aznavour, somebody like Maître Gims, two very, very opposite singers, but I'm the connection.
Mais tu iras où, si jamais je m'en vais, ça me rendrait si jamais tu partais.
Sometimes the moon hides in the clouds so high above me. Her beauty fell beyond my glances.
You also performed in the Pantheon in Paris in October.
I did.
It was the very first time a concert was held there. How did that feel?
Well, I'm very aware of the symbolic meaning of the Pantheon, because, it's the ethos of the Republic. And below me in the crypt was Voltaire, Diderot, Victor Hugo. I went to visit them, say hello. So for me, it was a great honor to be the first Englishman to perform there.
If it's love, it has no season. If it's love, there is no cure. If it's love, it won't see reason. And of this you can be sure.
And there's an atmosphere in that big room that is very mystical. It used to be a church, but it still has that éminence. Oui?
You're also an actor. You are in Camelot.
Ah, Senor Lancelot.
Retrouvez-le ou je vous fais tous pendre par les parties.
But back in the days, you were in David Lynch's Dune. The remake has just come out. What are your memories of making the movie?
I remember having a lot of fun. We were in Mexico City, and I was in a rubber suit all of the time in 100 degrees. So I lost a lot of weight. I think I weighed 145 pounds, which is very thin.
You just celebrated a big birthday. You turned 70. What can we wish you apart from a happy birthday?
Oh, many happy returns. I don't know. I don't need anything but just understanding and love.
If it's love, you must surrender. If it's love, then you must yield. If it's love, the odds are slender.